Here's what to do when your company gives you a junk truck to drive around. Here's what I just did, and let's talk about it and see what you think. This video is sponsored by Trucking Answers Podcast. Get it wherever you get fine podcasts, like iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Android, wherever you get your beautiful podcasts. My podcast is available. And the thing is, you don't even have to look at me during it. Trucking Answers Podcast. Be there. Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. I'm Mark, your broke down driver. And today, let's talk about what to do exactly when you get a broken down truck and your company's not that cooperative with you about changing it out. So they'd send me a message. They go, look, you're going to drive this other truck or whatever, right? And so I get there and I'm going to insert a picture, let's say right here. All right, you can see the array of dashboard lights. Note the miles that the truck had. All right, the truck had a number of other problems as well, like the telescopic wheel wouldn't telescope, so it was all the way down. So very hard to reach, okay? That's why I got this window in the back. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the mud flaps were broken off with bolts hanging out of them, and the mirror bracket was zip tied together. Ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. So I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Okay, and so they're like, well, you're going to need to take it. We don't have any other trucks. I go, well, I'll just go home then because I'm not going to take it. And that's what you have to do. You know, people think it's all great running local. Sometimes, it can be. You're going to have to stick up for yourself or companies are just going to walk all over you. So I'm like, look, here's the dealio. All right, you can get me another truck or, right, I can write to you if you would rather do this. I have a ton of pictures. I go, as you know, I take a bunch of pictures of these things. And I'll write to you officially. And then once you get that, right, you have to not dispatch the truck. That's an FMCSA regulation. When a motor carrier is informed of an issue with a vehicle, they are required to do one of two things. They have to inspect it, and if it's not safe, they have to fix it. And if they think it is safe, they have to sign off that it does not need to be fixed for continued safe operation. Either way, until that is done, you don't have to drive it. As long as it's got violations, you don't have to drive a truck that has problems, no matter what they tell you. So stick to your guns. So I have this truck. It turns out that truck, though, is a total disaster. And that's the thing of it. Suddenly, they can find a truck, okay, when they have to. That's the thing of it. Do not tolerate this junk going down the road. If it's got an issue, get it fixed. That truck had even more issues than I even said here. And what the real problem is, and when I told him, I go, that's a failure on your part. I go, that is a management problem. That didn't just happen sitting there. Like the driver dropped it off and suddenly the mud flap brackets are all broken. The flaps are ripped off of it. It has 3 dash lights. The wheel doesn't work. No. I go, that's been going on. And because you don't do anything to people that, just ignore everything, the drivers have no incentive to do it. And you always think, well, drivers get paid for everything, so they would get it fixed. No, not really. What happens is drivers want to get back home. And so then they don't get it fixed because it's going to impede on their home time. So they just drop it and leave. And if management doesn't enforce that, which they don't really do here, you get trucks that have a million problems. And it takes them longer to fix it. It's going to take them 2 weeks to fix that truck probably instead of, a day or whatever because they have to look it over, order a bunch of parts and all that. But it's not going out until it's fixed. I said, you want to give it back to me? All the things I listed are going to be fixed or it's not going to go anywhere again. That's just how it has to be. If you're not willing to do that, you're just going to be walked all over. So look, stand your ground. Do not take a truck with problems. Make them fix it. It's safe for everybody. You don't want your family on the road with a broke down truck and all this junk on the road, right? And neither do I. And I don't want to be driving it. So just keep the road safe for everybody. It's worth your little bit of your time and, giving your company will agree for it. Believe me, okay? So that's the old tip from the old Marcarini today. Don't forget to check out the podcast, Trucking Answers Podcast, and we'll see you on the next Trucking Answers.